Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mirror Point, where reality is checking itself. Hey, just want to go over this Alex Pretti shooting. I had a few thoughts of my own. I've got Sophia with me, and we're going to discuss this whole situation. Basically, it's pretty troubling. The death of Alex Pretti. He was a 37-year-old ICU nurse, shot and put on ice by federal immigration agents in Minneapolis, as you may know. And this situation has actually exposed like a deeper crisis in how power is exercised and communicated by authorities, right? So what's really should alarm all of us is that officials, including like high-ranking federal spokespeople, they made definitive claims, and I'm going to play that video, in fact, here shortly. But they made definitive claims about Pretti's intention and actions before a full investigation had even begun. So in the immediate aftermath, agencies labeled him a would-be assassin and a threat to law enforcement without clear evidence, even as publicly available video contradicts those assertions, kind of showing him recording the operation and then later being shot multiple times after being subdued. So they don't want you to trust your own eyes. Don't believe your lying eyes. Trust what we have to say. And this pattern of like premature, exaggerated, or even false claims normalizes deception, and it corrodes public trust. And so when authorities are allowed to speak without restraint or accountability, what it's doing is it's enabling a dynamic where misinformation actually spreads faster than the facts. And so it's undermining the very legitimacy that institutions claim to protect. So like this guy, he lost his life. And rather than waiting for the facts, officials just rushed to shape a narrative that fit political or strategic priorities. They were already trying to clean it up. So this matters to me because power without restraint is dangerous. Okay. The public depends on truthful information to assess risk, make decisions, and hold institutions accountable. So when misinformation becomes really routine, and when agencies responsible for public safety are empowered without checks, distrust becomes the default response, not because the public is irrational, but because experience teaches skepticism, right? And this is especially perilous with law enforcement like ICE and Border Patrol. When they're operating widely in civilian communities, and transparency or independent oversight is really just appearing to be lacking here. So if truth is only spoken when it's convenient, and silence or misdirection prevails when inconvenient, then we sacrifice confidence in our institutions and erode the social foundations that really hold society together. So the rush to judgment and the easy deployment of false narratives after this Pretti shooting should really be a wake-up call. Like unchecked authority not only risks injustice in individual cases, it invites systemic distrust, undermines accountability, and it just weakens the rule of law that we all rely on. And I would say it's nothing new, actually. This is just the latest example of this shit, because it's been happening in the Black community, brown communities already for years. But now that it's affecting in this kind of way, it's again gaining a lot of national attention. So yeah, we're going to get right into this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this show going. Yeah, and again, this is a 100% call in. So if you've got thoughts on the matter, please call in, and we will entertain different views and ideas. Hey, good morning, Sophia. How are you doing today?
Hey, I am doing all right. What about you?
Cold, man. Cold and trying to fight this sickness. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick. So I've been, trying to, I don't know, deal with it one way or the other.
Yeah, that sucks. Vitamin C, vitamin C.
Exactly. I got to go out and get that for real. Yeah, man. So we're going to talk about this Pretti shooting. We've been talking about it all week and been planning on doing a show. And so here we are. And yeah, it's really wild, man. I'm going to go ahead and start playing some videos just to kind of set the conversation up. So what I'd like to do is start with CNN's video regarding Christy Christy Noam, where she held that press conference and
Yeah.
about the shooting and the original fucking lies that they told starting off with this bullshit. So I just wanted to play it so everybody knows what's going on, set this thing up correctly here.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
So this is really sad because that's all bullshit. That is all bullshit. You
It's
can see that on the video.
interesting. It's just interesting to me how the most violent shit faces always play the victim. It's the same line every time. We feared for our lives. You got one
Yeah.
man who didn't ever brandish his weapon and a whole gang of fucking hyenas, and they feared for their lives. Sure.
Yeah, it's bullshit. So then the question is, why did they do that? So some interesting things came to light. I just found this video. It was kind of like breaking news. I think either late last night or this morning when I found it. Basically, pointing to the fact that Pretti had encounter with ICE before, and they actually broke his ribs. And then they put him on a list to look out for him. Not only him, but everybody else but then it was denied by Homeland Security or the ICE guy. I forget his name right now for some reason. But yeah, so I'm just gonna let the video play. It kind of sets it up, and then we're gonna get new video about what led up to the incident. It wasn't that he approached them with a gun. It was inciting violence and all this stuff. This new information bears that out. So I'm going to go ahead and play that real quick here.
And we don't know if it is this incident that was on the radar that put Alex Pretti on the radar for federal law enforcement, but we do know there has been a collection of protesters and agitators within the context of the Department of Homeland Security's repeated warnings about the threats to law enforcement officers who are on these operations. In fact, just on Tuesday this morning, the department publicized an online tip forum for people to submit tips about others who are harassing ICE agents. Now, I asked the Department of Homeland Security about our reporting. They said that no record of this incident, this earlier incidents of Alex Pretti was recorded. They also said, quote, there is no database when our law enforcement encounter a violent agitator who is breaking the law, obstructing law enforcement, or assaulting them. Our law enforcement make records to advance prosecution. This is not groundbreaking. It is standard. I'll also add, Casey, that we had heard from White House border czar Tom Homan in recent days, who said that a database would be created of those who are arrested for interference, impeding, and assault. So all of this sort of revealing of the landscape in Minneapolis and the collection of information amid the tensions both between the federal law enforcement on the ground and also the protesters.
So considering that new landscape, excuse me, Josh Campbell, we have some new.
So yeah, so I guess I was a bit off on that. So he was saying they were going to compile some kind of list together. But anyways, I'm gonna let the video continue because they're gonna show the video of what led up to the incident here.
Video that shows the minutes before Alex Pretti was shot by immigration agents. Walk us through that. What stands out to you?
Well, this is important because we've seen the actual incident of the shooting, but these are the moments just before that. And you can actually see these immigration agents that are there interacting with Pretti. They're off to the left of that video there. And at one point, they start shoving him. They're pushing him back. He's standing there filming. It's important because this is really going against this narrative that the Department of Homeland Security came out with initially, saying that he was trying to assault those officers, that he was threatening them, that he was brandishing a firearm. You see them, kind of mixing it up there. They're trying to push him back. These agents appear to be very, very amped up as these protesters had shown up, but no indication that he was actually posing some type of threat to them. And it makes you have to wonder, I mean, where did that come from? When you had the DHS saying that he was attempting to massacre federal agents, did senior officials there just make that up? Or, even just as concerning, did the agents on the ground really tell their bosses that he pointed a weapon at them before they opened fire? It's hard to figure out where that information came from, but every video we found so far, completely debunks that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Can you believe that? The authorities lying to us? Wow.
Yeah.
Who would have figured?
All I see is a man is backing up while an ICE agent is constantly imposing on his space, and his hands are even like kind of up. That's the same way he looked right before he got shot. He was backing up like this and got in the middle of the ICE agents and that woman. So yeah, they are fucking liars, and that's all there's to it.
Yep, bitch pulled it out of her ass, as Robin Hood says over here. It's for sure, man, because that's her job. Her job is to protect those in power at the expense of the American people. We're lied to all the time about so many fucking things. It's really no surprise. But in this case, we're not supposed to believe our lying eyes. We're supposed to just go along with the narrative and just lick the boots of ICE and lick the boots of the administration and go along with the bullshit because they want to do what they want to do without any accountability. And that's really what's sad about this country, right? Especially now. It's just even more so exaggerated, it seems.
Yeah, it's sad that there's actual footage. There are people on the ground. They're having real reactions to the shooting. You can hear people screaming like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" And "What did you just do?" And you literally have people saying, "Oh, it's a conspiracy. It was staged. It wasn't even real." And all this stuff, like y'all just pulling out of y'all asses overnight. And he was a known provocateur, and he's been doing this for years. And all of a sudden there's all this information on this guy that they also just pulled out of their asses overnight, and I'm like, seriously? So now we're just gonna disregard all the different footage that exists from random people who were there, who didn't know this was gonna happen. Like, how do you even do that? Like, do you even understand the amount of coordination you would need to stage this? Like, how do you do that? And I'm not saying things are never staged. I'm pretty sure that's possible, but I highly doubt in this case that's the case, because we know there are protests happening. We know there are people on the ground. I actually know people who are on the ground. It's like, I don't understand what's happening.
It's people are so fast to be in denial. It's like we were saying before, we humans, we're so irrational. We just love our cognitive bias, and we love to.
I don't know about we.
Yeah. Especially you. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't put me in that shit. Don't
Yeah,
put
but
me in
you
that
know,
shit. 'Cause,
for real. I mean, that's why, you know, people should just wait until the facts come out. But in this case, the facts are out. It's right there on the video for everybody to see it. You know, you can't even say, let's say there is no video, like say in that Carmelo case from last year with that the black kid that stabbed the white kid. You know, we were talking about, well, let's just wait until, you know, the evidence
it's
comes out.
always,
Let's see. And they're just
it's
already
always,
saying he's
well,
guilty. Yeah.
it's because they already, it's certain people, you know, racist when it's, you know, when it's doesn't serve their narrative.
Hmm.
It's always when it's someone that they think deserve to die, right? Um, they're gonna always immediately say either, well, that person fucked around and found out, unless it's one of their own,
Hmm.
then it's, oh, that was excessive force. And they will say, yes, we saw the what happened on camera, like with George Floyd, but that's not how he died. He died because he was a fucking crackhead, and they did the same thing with him. They started coming up with all these stories that were false overnight, and that supposedly excuses what we saw on camera. Like, yeah, we saw that he got killed by that guy, but because of his priors, he deserved that. Even though he went to
Well,
prison for his priors, served his time.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they want to blame the victim.
And they just,
And in this case, they're
yeah,
blaming the victim again. You know,
and
they're
what's
saying
really
he brought a
interesting is
gun. Yep, go ahead.
these same fucking people believe in open carry. I mean, I see these motherfuckers walking around in Walmart with fucking guns on their hips, all right? Like in Walmart in broad daylight because it's legal. And I could, like, they won't question why would a motherfucker bring a gun to Walmart, right? But okay, I get it. A protest. The situation is a little more volatile. But he didn't brandish his weapon. I don't see one video that depicts that he brandished his weapon, and then after the fact they find his weapon. And then
Right.
oh, because he had a weapon. But that's like after the fact. Did he point the weapon out at anybody? No, not that I can tell. Right before he died. Did he threaten to shoot anyone? No, it looked like he was trying to protect a woman that was violently shoved. She's like flying backwards and shit, landing on her ass and shit. And I'm like, is all that violence necessary to do your job? Like you just run up on women and shove them across the road and shit, like a violent animal? What is that one little woman gonna do to you and this whole group of fucking psychopaths? What is she gonna do to y'all?
Of course. It
I
just,
don't.
you know, if they're too scared to do their job, they shouldn't have that job. You know, that's the thing. They need training. I don't think these people are trained. I don't think they have any kind of, you know, fucking reason to be in their position. And then it's just the argument that you can't bring a firearm to a protest, right? And listen to this. Hold on a second. I'm going to share a video too. As you see on the screen, the hypocrisy is basically what I'm bringing out here. You see these Trump guys bringing out guns and everything to a BLM march. Like that's
Oh
okay.
wow.
No one said shit about it, you know, or January 6th or whatever. And then you got Kyle Rittenhouse, who was armed as well. But they don't talk about that. They forget about that. But listen to what Kash Patel, again, mouthpiece for the power, is going to say about that. And this is where the hypocrisy again is really fucked up.
Who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful protest, and you do not get to touch law enforcement. You do that anywhere, this FBI is going to be leading the charge to arrest those.
Bullshit.
He totally
know?
twisted that though. Like y'all do it all the time. It's only okay when y'all do it. And not only do y'all carry, y'all pull out your guns, y'all make threats, y'all standing there like y'all gonna intimidate somebody and shit, and that's perfectly fine. This man was carrying, and that's it. He didn't threaten anyone. So that's not illegal. Bullshit.
Yep. You know, I carry a firearm wherever I go a lot of time. Not all the time, but a lot of times I carry a firearm. And if I happen to have to be in a community, hell, there was some ICE people out. I was delivering some stuff, and there was ICE, I guess, recruiters, and they were talking to a bunch of people, and they were like saying, yeah, we can get you off the street and give you a badge, and you can be on the street, and you can be making money and doing this and that. And, you know, and they were all like black folks. Man, they all walked away. They all walked away from that shit. And he was just out there. And then he turned to me. He's like, yeah, I can get you off the street. You can be out here doing. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. Like, I don't want to be part of that shit. Like some recruiter. Like they're really trying to get people, like anybody, and just grab them up and say, look, you can come out and serve, man. But suppose, and I have a gun on me. Suppose something was going on at that moment and they snatch me up and find a gun, they could shoot me, you know? And it's my right here to have a firearm on me. I may have nothing to do with that shit. Or I may be out there part of the protest or whatever, but who cares? I don't deserve to be shot. You know, it's bullshit, man. It's really bullshit.
Yeah, because at Kyle Rittenhouse, you know, they were saying he was protecting the stores and protecting, you know, he was being a protector. Well, so was this guy. He saw a woman be violently shoved across the street. I mean, it looked really violent to me how she flew backwards and landed on the ground. And that was a lot of force, man, for your ass to go flying like that when a motherfucker shoves you. And that's dangerous too. Like she could have landed wrong and broke something. Like, I mean, that's just unnecessary. And I think that I want to think that most men, right, have this protective instinct.
Yeah.
To protect a woman or a child, right? Someone that's weaker than
it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's like if you see a female being pushed or bullied or something, any guy is going to stand up and try to protect. I mean, that's just kind of like how it is. And you know, and then too, they pepper sprayed his ass, and it's like then they want to say he's resisting arrest. It's like after you've been pepper sprayed, what the fuck are you gonna do? You're gonna be moving. you're gonna be squirming. You know, and they're, you know, it's like they just use any excuse to escalate situations and then pump. It's like when
your parents beat your ass. Your parents beat your ass, and then they say, "Don't cry, I'm gonna beat you even more." Yeah. And then you get fucking fucked up and shit, and you're crying, and every time they see a tear, you get some more. Like, how the fuck you supposed to, you know, like it's impossible. Like, what the fuck?
That's just being abusive. That's just being cruel and unusual. You know, it's just a way to work stress off your, you know, people that do that, man, they're kind of like psychotic, man. They've got psychological problems. And
yeah, and I see a lot of them ICE agents get extremely violent with women in a lot of this footage I've been seeing. The way they shove these women and tackle them down, and it's like it gives them a free card to fucking assault women. I hate to see what happens to their fucking women at home. Like, god damn, the fuck? It's like they're taking all their anger out because they can, on women specifically. I don't, I don't, man, like you said, they're psychopaths, man. That's all there's to it.
Yeah, man.
They're
cruel.
psychopaths.
And they're getting these people off the street, and these people are giving guns. They're just handing them guns. Here you go. Here's your guns. Like Oprah Winfrey. Here, you get a gun. You get a gun. You get a gun. And what do you expect these people to do? They're not trained, and they're just probably a bunch of Proud Boy types, that are just out to see liberal tears or whatever, and they just enjoy it, man.
Dude,
They enjoy it.
they're just dudes with a lot of complexes, because no real man behaves like that. No real man has to put violence on public display. Like, what the fuck, against weaker people? That's a
Yeah,
pussy.
yeah,
Straight
it
up
is.
fucking pussy.
Yeah, they are. They're this whole manly shit. That's what it is. They're a bunch of little punks, man. People that do that, they're not tough. They're given a gun and a badge, and they've got backup. They got their boys with them. They're all riding in the street, masked up, trying to act like fucking, some kind of fucking action movie hero movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Bunch of games.
like a gang. It's like when you see fucking 5 Mexicans, it's a gang. But when you see 5 white masked ICE agents, it's the Brady Bunch. Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And on the other hand, I'm more than willing to change my mind about anything, right? Like if there was information that came out about the guy being, starting it or being a danger to them or whatever, I would be all for, this, I would be appropriate to the situation. My attitude would be. But I just don't see it. So if anybody's got another view, if you've got something else you want to say, I got the link in the live chat. I'll put it up here again in case you want to join. And you can kind of we can talk about it if you've got some thoughts on the matter yourself. Feel free. But yeah, it really scares me because people always say, oh, the word Nazi in Nazi Germany and Hitler gets thrown around a lot in situations like that, but there's nothing like that going on in America. Is America following the blueprint of Nazi Germany? Do you think something like that might be going on?
Well, I mean, the way they're doing this shit on the street, hell yeah. Because that should concern all of us. Because from even if it's them enforcing immigration laws, right? But they just walk up to people, shove them, shoot them. They don't try to, they just immediately escalate things. And that's just a straight up violation of people's rights. And that does kind of remind me of Nazi Germany, where you could practically just walk up to a JEW and do whatever you want to them.
Mhm.
What's next? What, we're going to be wearing stars? I mean, just because you look a certain way, you automatically have to be subjected to extreme violence and possible death and execution because you're brown skinned. And then it's happening, of course, it's happening to white people too. But that's not surprising because that's always been like that. If you're a white person that doesn't agree with their agenda, back in the day, you would have been called, you know what?
Mhm.
An NIGGER lover, right?
Yeah.
So that's nothing new. That's nothing new. But now they're just trying to bring it back to the good old days. And it's odd to see in 2026 that we are going backwards, you know?
Yeah.
It's strange.
It's really crazy, man. It's really crazy. And it's sad. You know, I keep getting IMs. Um I just got some conservative guy sent me something here.
Read that.
Here, yeah, let me share that because he's sending
Let's see
me.
what the little white little fat pig has to say. And that's not against all white people, but those ones, they look like pigs, act like pigs, sound like pigs. And I'm going to say it out loud.
Yeah. Let me pull what he just sent me because I haven't even read it yet. Here we go. So he said, if Alex Petty's identity as a nurse is central to the story, why did he prepare for the Minneapolis protest by packing a concealed firearm instead of a first aid kit? As a former first responder, I call BS. You don't show up to help with a gun and zero medical supplies. If you have the skills to save a life, but only brought the tools to take one, your intentions were never about helping.
Well, he was there also filming and for the purpose of documentation of what's happening out there. And he also is permitted to carry for self-protection. It's an assumption that he packed a gun to go there to cause harm as well, you fucking dickhead. Where is that dude? Bring
God,
him in, man.
yeah, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna send him the link. Let's
Jesus
talk about it.
Christ.
Hold on. Let's talk about it. Of course, he won't
This is
show up.
sad
These
that we
people
got this
never.
kind of. It's sad that we have to even deal with shit like this, that we even have to hear shit like that, man. We've had enough of this shit.
Yeah, these people suck, man. They just, it's all about Trump worship. You know, they just worship some politician like he's fucking the second coming of Christ. I mean, these people think Jesus put him in on the throne in order to usher in the second coming and shit. This is the same guy,
I
by the
don't
way.
think people can honestly believe that shit because Jesus never behaved like that in the Bible. I don't even care to, I don't, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? If you believe that, you're a delusional, schizophrenic ass. That's probably the problem. They are schizophrenic. They need some serious mental help. Put their asses on some lithium or something because it's, they're insane. They're mentally ill.
I'm going to take
They act
Robin
like
Hood.
savages.
Don't be a pacifist pussy. That's what I just told him. Don't be a pacifist pussy. God sent Trump. He was out of locusts. Yeah.
Shit, that's more accurate.
Yeah,
He said
man.
that is definitely the plague. The plague.
And you know, you have a lot of people like, you know, that voted for Trump that are like really regretting their vote and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the fuck did you not see? You know, like I understand, like we were talking this morning and everything. Like I understand there were some good points that he might have talked about. Like, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due, you know, if there is any. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. But I remember he was talking about, you know, Haitians eating cats and dogs, and he talked about you know, how he was going to be a dictator on day one. just all kinds of inflammatory
Other
shit.
countries, other countries
Yeah.
being shitholes. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. In the very beginning, I thought the economy did much better under him because I was making a lot of money and I was doing really well, and the economy was really lucrative and everything like that. So from that aspect, I thought he was all right. Um, but I mean, I never really was very political all my life. That just kind of started, I want to say, within the last 5 years when things just got kind of crazy. Um, and I was just kind of pulled into that. But, between Biden and him at the time, I did think he may be the lesser of two evils because I didn't really like either one of them. But because the economy seemed pretty decent, I was like, well, I guess he's probably the better option. But I mean, I don't vote for none of these people because I don't believe in this system. I don't believe that these politicians have our best interests at heart. And I think the few that do, they don't have enough power. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is kind of where we're at. You're looking at two fucked up people, and then you got to make a decision between which one's worse than the other. And I don't think, well, I mean, I didn't think that something like this would ever happen in America, that our rights could be violated like that still in this time. Yes, this has happened to Black people for much longer and for a long time, but I thought we made a lot of progress. I was really under the delusion, because obviously it was a delusion, because look at where we are now. I thought
Mm.
that we made a lot of progress towards the better, and it was shocking to me. So I was one of those who really didn't expect any of that to happen like that. But
Right.
I was wrong as shit. So anything I said back then, you know, uh, don't hold me to it because I was definitely stupid. Yeah, that's all I could say.
Yeah. And I got my man, see if I can share his video. This dude's funny. My buddy here, uh, Robert Reed, he talks about atheism and stuff, but he also talks about this bullshit with Trump all the time. And he's got some interesting perspectives sometimes. Let me see if I've got something I can share. And Joel says, thank you for that admission, Sophia.
You're welcome, Joel.
Yeah, let me share this one here. Oh, fuck. What is wrong with me today? I got no skills no more. What's wrong with my skills? Let me stop
You getting
sharing.
old?
I'm getting old. Getting. I think in this video he's talking about that shit.
The splitting of the hairs, no, not even splitting of hairs, the scalping. They're making excuses for the bullshit, the gaslighting. You didn't hear what you thought you heard. You didn't see what you thought you saw. Shut the fuck up. Just rewind it to last week with Miss Good, right? Just so you guys know, I'm not bullshit when I told you my dad's a retired military police officer. We talked about it. Just so you guys are aware, there's absolutely nowhere in fucking police protocol where you pull out your fucking pistol and you shoot someone in the fucking face. And while the car is going that way, you stand behind and you pump 2 more rounds into the vehicle. And while you're sitting on your fucking cell phone, you say, that fucking bitch. Please go fuck yourselves. This is not normal. This is not okay. Everything that we said is coming to fruition. Something else that me and my dad talked about was this is 100% following the same script. right? It's just like any other abusive relationship. You go on a first date with somebody and they 100% show their cards. Look, if you do this with me, you'll never talk to your mom again, your dad again. I'm going to separate you from your friends. I'm going to mentally beat you down. And you'd be like, oh, okay, that's nice. Check, please. I'm out of here. You wouldn't stay there. It's that slow drip. The next thing you know, you're trying to figure out, how the fuck did I get here? You guys know what one of the things that Hitler always talked about before he became that guy? Healthcare. I'm not joking. Look that shit up. He did not run on the platform of Auschwitz, Dachau, dehumanizing people. It was this slow drip. The next thing you know, so it is time to stop the fuckery. Something else that me and my dad talked about is, again, everything that we sat there and we talked about 8 years ago, a year ago, it's all coming true. We laughed. You guys remember that interview? This was right before he got elected. You know, if I'm reelected, I'm going to be a dictator for just a day. And he sat across from one of his biggest sycophants, Sean Hannity. And again, you know how fucked a situation has to be where Sean Hannity is the voice of reason? You know, as he's just sitting there and, of course, just glazing Trump and juggling his nuts all in his mouth and tongue in his booty hole. And Trump's like, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm reelected. I'm going to be a dictator on day one. And Sean, oh, no, I mean, what you meant to say is like, no, you didn't hear a word I said. I'm not bullshit. I'm going to be a dictator on day one. No, I mean, okay. Libtards, fake news. What you heard, what? Anna Kasparian. She's backtracking her monkey ass because she had her tongue up his dirty booty hole. Right? Again, he's not a fascist. Okay, if you justify that as fascism, then you're just watering it down. Now it's like, this is some bullshit. I think this motherfucker's a fascist. He was over here talking about, let's bridge the gap. Let's find out what we have in common. Why? Right? Racism and hatred is not patriotism. People like me have been saying since day one, this is some bullshit, and the damage is going to be generational. Now look at us. Look where we are. Now, gang, I just saw some bullshit, so I'm going to rant about some bullshit.
All right. Well, yeah, he's got a point, man. Like,
Agree with him. The gaslighting
he was clear
is
about his
outrageous.
bullshit.
Yeah, it does. It does work exactly like he said. In a narcissist, in a relationship that turns out to be abusive with a narcissist, if that narcissist had revealed himself from the beginning, you wouldn't have gotten into a relationship with him. And that's very true. Now, there are red flags, but a lot of times they can be so subtle that you don't really realize it until it's too late. And I will agree with him. That's how I ended up in an abusive relationship. Because if they were to show that to you up front, you think we'd still go for it? Not really, and that's kind of how they did it. It all seemed nice and good. And like, we're making all this progress. And, I just looked at it like, how me and you were at the time, conservatism seemed to be very rational and just morally sounded good, but
Coherent, yeah.
It just on the surface seemed logical, but yeah, it was nothing like that. You know what I mean? And I saw that early on. I was like, yeah, this is taking a shift. Like, what is this shit all about? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how they do it. They make everything sound all good and like it's all for your own good, and like they're here to make everything better. And it's just a lie. It's a fucking lie.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah,
And like for me, like I could see that shit. Like I started seeing us doing shows, and then we would just talk about principles, the conservative principles. And we were
right.
talking about Malcolm X and people like that who actually espoused certain conservative principles. But then because Malcolm X was black and he was supposed to be the villain or whatever, somehow we started getting all kinds of threats and all kinds of people coming up. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, oh, so this shit really isn't about consistency. This shit is about
Well, they never,
something else.
conservatives never liked Malcolm X. You know, they saw him as a radical. And that's something I didn't know until, like you said, they started attacking us. And I was like, so why wouldn't they like him? Because I mean, he did subscribe to some conservative principles, but he did also call out conservatives. And I mean, shit just started not adding up to me. And for me, it was like a really crazy experience because I was not political at all. But I guess some of the things that I was saying on my wall on Facebook attracted certain people to me who thought that I was a good mouthpiece, so to speak. So at first it was liberal women who would reach out to me, and I made friends with this one chick, and I didn't know she had any kind of political agenda, and she wanted to meet outside of work, and she gave me all these gifts and stuff out of nowhere. And then she started to say things like, oh yeah, why don't you come to the women's march and stuff? And she added me to this group. And then one time I just saw her conversating in there with other people. And what she put in there, it just kind of pissed me off because she was just like, yeah, just make sure that we have enough merch for the blacks. Because, you know, as long as you got merch, the blacks are going to show up. And I didn't like that shit. Yeah, I didn't like that. So I put that bitch on blast because I thought she was actually trying to be my friend. And I was so damn stupid, like a gullible little dummy. And she was like, I just put her on blast because also, like, when I met with her in person, she showed me her car and stuff. And she was like, yeah, you know, if you choose to work for this organization and speak to black people about this stuff, you know, you could be driving this car and a car like that and stuff like that. Like she was just luring me and trying to recruit me, but she never came out from the beginning telling me that's what she was doing. And that's why I fucking was hurt. I felt used. And so I was in this mindset of, yeah, fuck people. They're always trying to use you. I felt played. And then here comes the conservative white males to my aid, you know? And they're like, oh, you're a strong woman. You did the right thing by, you know, that's how they all are. They want to recruit you. And then they started getting all into my head and got all behind me. And I made friends with this guy. We even had him on our show. And he was just so supportive. He'd invite me to, like, you know, he'd send me tickets to like theater shows and trying to show me the finer side of life as long as I'm preaching the right stuff, right? And then the minute I disagreed with anything from the right, he'd turn on me. He'd fucking make racist ass comments. And I was just supposed to sit there and just eat it, right? And I was like, man, why? I was just being pulled from one side to the other side. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, what Malcolm X said, it's really true. A lot of times black people are really tossed to and fro between the two parties. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to think for myself. I'm staying out of this completely. I'm going to speak on the things that I don't agree with or whatever the hell my worldview is, independent of the left or the right, you know, because I felt like I was being torn into pieces by both sides. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely, man. That's why I rarely talk about politics. I just get bored of that conversation because it's so dichotomous and no one has principles for the most part. Everybody's kind of has their heels dug in and nobody's looking for some nuance or anything. Now, there's some people that do, and I can understand some arguments like, this time around, it seems like the liberals are more aligned with togetherness and unity and making the world better. Or another time, people can say, well, it seems like this go around, the conservatives are more aligned with making things better for the country or whatever. I get it. But for the most part, most people are just in for their tribe,
But see, the thing that got me about the liberal people or the leftists was, I'm not saying all right? I'm just telling you about my experience. The minute I didn't agree with one little thing, like I had this big thing about, um, I'm not against trans rights at all, but I had a problem with the whole competition thing in sports, trans women who have physical advantages. I didn't see that as fair towards biological women. And, the minute I disagreed with stuff like that or anything for that matter, even though I would overall be very supportive, it's one little thing that I didn't agree with. And the viciousness that they came at me with was just so fucked up, like, oh, you should know better. You're fucking black. What makes you think they're not gonna turn on you, you stupid fucking bitch? And the way they were coming at me, it was just like, whoa, like I only disagreed with one little thing. Like, why are you doing this? Like, it was just the way, like the viciousness for not agreeing 100%. Like, what I'm basically saying is, it doesn't matter really if you're on the left or the right, the radical left and the radical right. They're much the same to me because they don't encourage independent thinking. It's like you said, defend the tribe 100% or you're a traitor and we're gonna fucking cuss you out and run you out of here and make you feel bad and all kinds of shit. And it's like, man, but I have my own mind. I'm not gonna agree with every single thing. And I'm not gonna represent your side 100%. I'm not gonna do that because there's no such thing as perfection. You're not all the way right about every fucking thing.
Right, right.
That's impossible. And so,
And you can
like,
change your
if
mind.
I'm not,
You can change your mind,
if I'm not allowed to be an independent thinker, I don't give a fuck if it's the left or the right. I'm not going to have any part of you if that's how I'm going to be treated. If I got to be a mouthpiece that just spits your rhetoric, whether it's right or wrong, then fuck you. I'll be by myself. I can do bad all by myself.
Right. Right. And the way I've come to look at things is that what's really going to count as far as making this world a better place is how much unity and tolerance we can give each other. I understand there comes a point where you can't tolerate intolerance, and so there's kind of a contradiction somewhere down the line. But for the most part, I think we should try to be more non-dichotomous and just try to be fair. I am kind of libertarian in that way, in the sense that I think I should be free to do anything I want to do, as long as I don't infringe on your right to do the same. And that's pretty clear. That's pretty clear. Now, I know someone can make the argument, well, if you take that to its extreme, then who's really the one who decides what's right and wrong or whatever? And I've heard all these dumb arguments, and it's like, but we don't act in extremes like that. I mean, we have to be reasonable. We can be reasonable. And, it doesn't always have to fall into the extremism. But so oftentimes people rationalize, your way out of being compassionate for all these different reasons, you know, and really the compassion and the empathy is what should guide us in the way that we run a society. But the way things are going right now, the compassion is out the window. I mean, especially on the right. On the right, it seems like they're just out to see blood, and they're just justifying it and rationalizing it away. Well, he brought a gun to a protest. If he was really for peace and he's really a nurse, he should have been there with medicine and stuff, not with guns. It's like you're just trying to rationalize why somebody should be murdered. You know, like think about what you're saying, you know, but they don't. They're just embedded in their tribal bullshit. I think you're muted.
No, I wasn't. My daughter and the damn
Okay.
dog. Okay, get
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Go.
yeah.
No, Cookie.
Robin
Sorry.
says, well, except me, I'm always
dog
right.
wanted to-
That's right.
He wanted to
She
get
is
in the show.
always right and never wrong.
What? I didn't. Who's always right and never wrong?
No, I'm saying Robin Hood was just making a joke. Well, except me, I'm always right. Laughing out loud. But I used to have a father-in-law that used to say that. He used to always say, I'm right and I'm never wrong. Like, okay.
I can't hear nothing. It's really choppy right now.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, well, everybody kind of thinks they're right. That's the whole problem. Everybody thinks that they're, you know, everybody thinks everybody else is stupid. You know, that's just how people are.
Well, I think there is a real simple solution to that.
What's that solution?
And it
Cynthia?
actually is from the scripture. And it's
From the Bible.
basically
From the Bible.
yes, because what that scripture actually is talking about is empathy. It says, do unto others as you have them do to yourself, right? With that being said, all you got to do is think about how would you feel if someone did it to you? And then empathize with that. And voila, you'd be a pretty decent fucking person. It's that
Yeah.
simple. If you don't want nobody to snatch your ass off the street and throw you down and be violent with you, then you shouldn't do that to others. If you know, being treated unfairly hurts you, why would you do it to others? The minute you do that, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think it's that simple.
Robin Hood says she has a new debate coming up. Should Christians support the Second Amendment? So, like, when is that taking place? Where? Give us the juicy details. I think people who still support Trump are stupider than the rest of us.
Who's Robin Hood? Why does it sound familiar, but I'm not sure. Do I know
What's that?
them?
Who?
Robin Hood, their channel. Is it a channel?
I don't know. I've seen Robin Hood. I've joined different live streams and I've seen Robin Hood all, you know, in these different groups. I don't know if it's a channel or if it's just a person. Not sure. Tell us, Robin Hood, a little bit about it. Yeah, it is. I think it is February 5th, I think. And Phyllis Sober says it is. And hey, Phyllis Sober, man, thanks for shouting me out every time I try to join when I can his show, and he's always giving me a shout out. So he's always telling people to like my channel.
I thought they looked familiar. Robin Hood, I think I've seen them before.
Yeah. Yeah, she's cool, man.
Oh, she's a she. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. She's really cool. Yep, she has a channel.
I thought it was. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to check it out. February 5th, huh?
February 5th. Debating them Christians.
Oh my God. Man, I've been debated them for so many years. Sometimes I just ain't got the fucking stamina for it no more. Yarnell, remember? Oh shit, man.
Yes, Phyllis Sober got me a bunch of subs. Yeah, he helps me too, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I think I met Phyllis Sober when we went on that Free for Talk with Objective Ethics.
Oh yeah.
Where we met. Yeah. And he's always
Wow,
giving
that's
us,
actually a while back.
yeah.
Sorry, I dropped my lighter. I'm a crackhead, y'all.
I
Sorry.
know. Phyllis Sober, I am coming in. Okay, cool. Come on in.
But yeah, that shit is whack, man. What's happening right now? That is just pure evil, in my opinion. None of that is necessary. Most immigrants are not fucking criminals. I don't care if they're legal or illegal, they're not all criminals. And to paint that picture, that false narrative that they're all armed and dangerous criminals, because that's basically how they're being treated. Because why the violence? You know, it's just like, okay, there are people who do illegal things on the road, like drive without a license or whatever, expired license plates. And you shouldn't fucking just, like, when you pull people over, the whole point is to point out what they did wrong or investigate if they did anything wrong without escalation, because the end goal should be preservation of life, right? We're here to protect and serve. We're just trying to make sure that the roads are safe, that everybody's following the rules. What's up with the escalation? But we already know that. We get pulled over at gunpoint for literally nothing. Happened to me several times. And it's always being escalated when it's somebody you don't like, when you have your own personal issues with a person. So that's kind of how this ICE thing is. Okay, yes, there are illegals in this country. Not all of them are armed and dangerous criminals. So just follow the regular procedure. Go there with a warrant, know who you're approaching before you go there. You don't just fucking run in there and fucking throw people on the ground, rip them out of their cars without even identifying them. You don't even know who the fuck they are. So how the fuck you know if they're illegal or if they're dangerous or criminals? So we all have eyes. We all see that this shit doesn't make sense. There's something else going on. You know, it's like they want us to know that this is like what the new life we're living, that we should be afraid to walk down the street, that this could happen to us. What is this, intimidation tactics? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they telling us this is what it's going to be? We're eroding the Constitution. Get used to it. Like, what do y'all think? You know?
Welcome, Robin. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hey, did you do that on purpose there? That noise, like it sounded like you were God or something.
I am God.
Yeah, he does.
I was like, what is wrong with my audio?
Yeah. How you doing, Robin?
I'm good. I'm good. Oh, I'm just, yeah, I get all wound up in these conversations. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's why I wasn't gonna come in. But like, my typing finger is wore out now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's crazy what's going on and shit, man. You know, I don't know what
So
we're gonna
tell me,
do from here.
what
That's
do
the
you
question.
think? What do you think about all this, Robin?
Oh my gosh. Well, you've seen what I said in the comments. I'm like, I will say I voted for Trump in 2016. I was a registered Republican from age 18. Like my grandpa stood over me and was like, make sure you write REP on party right there. And I ain't always voted Republican, but I was a registered Republican. I'm not anymore. I changed. I finally, because like where I live in Kentucky, the sheriff was a good friend of mine that I graduated with, and I wanted to be able to vote for him because we don't have Democrats here, like even run for anything here hardly here. And so I always just stayed a registered Republican, even kind of after I broke with them, because of that way I could vote in the elections, and like pick the lesser of two evils of the Republicans anyway. Um,
Yeah.
but but now I've completely changed. He's retiring after this term, so I'm not going to be voting for him anymore. And I told him he's probably going to be the last one I ever vote for, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. Not like they're going to have to change a whole lot of shit before they get vote mine again. I've seen, like I live in the town, in Kentucky. I mean, like it's an all white town. It's all, I'm the nutty liberal in this town as far as these people think. And I wasn't even a Democrat. You know what I mean? Like, and they still,
Yeah.
but they just all went
You're
off
still
their deep end.
you're still gonna be labeled that.
That's
Right.
good. That's fine. That's what I'm glad. I'm like, yeah, I wear that badge proudly these days because
Yes.
I mean, like I feel like that I don't want to be associated with them at all. But I did vote for Trump in 2016. I was dating a man for like 8 years that was a big Trump supporter, and he really paid attention to what was going on. I didn't. I drove a truck for like 27 years, and so.
But that has to be hard living in a town where everyone's a Republican except you. Like, tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, like most of the people I've known all my life, like, so a bunch of it's my family, which are all Trump supporters. My parents were Trump supporters. And like watching them go down this rabbit hole, like, has been one of the saddest things because, like, my dad was a teacher when I was real young, but like, little girls look up to their dads. They look up to their dad. And seeing your dad turn into something that you don't even recognize anymore is heartbreaking. It really is. He has 2 daughters, me and my sister, and there's 4 granddaughters. We each have 2 daughters. And he voted to take away our reproductive rights. And he's voting for like all this DEI stuff. You know what I mean? Like they still support this man, even though he's doing all this DEI and shit. You know what? The DEI don't just affect black people. It's women too. Like
Yes.
it's women. Their racism and their sexism are matched pretty good together. And
Yeah.
I can't. I'm like, I told my dad, I said I would never vote for a person who is going to take your rights away from you. Never.
Yeah.
And which my sister actually, she's not real political. She's she's the good one. You know what I mean? Like she's everything I ain't. She's still a Christian. But she married a guy whose mom was like our county clerk, and they were Democrats. So she's always been a liberal compared to what I was probably. But I'm gonna tell you, like, I've slid so far left. That's why I said when I go, I'm almost a commie now. Just like, they just keep pushing me further left. I mean, like the older I get and the more these people do, the further left I go. I'm just getting away from them. But I'm hoping.
Yeah, but I can't blame you because
yeah,
I mean, what's happening is outrageous, and I don't see how anybody with a good conscience can still support that.
Well, that's why
insane.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Go
going
ahead.
after. Oh, I'm sorry, interrupt you. That's why
No,
I'm going
you're
after
fine.
these debates on. Like I've got a friend that runs a Christian channel that I'm really good friends with, and I'm a mod over there and everything, and we're debating and so like we've already debated was the United States founded on Christianity, and
Mhm.
so we're going to debate. We've got is atheism a religion coming up first this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
definitely are a brave woman driving trucks. The only one that won't support the party. I mean, you're brave.
Yeah, I'm brave or stupid or something. One of them, I don't know. but like I've always kind of been like that. But I like Trump though. I didn't like much of the shit he was doing, but I really didn't pay much attention until the pandemic came along, in which I was
Yeah.
not off work during the pandemic because I hauled milk. Like I was a milk hauler, so like we never quit, working. We never did,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
but like I understand vaccines and stuff. So anyway, I just lost my mind during the pandemic, and then after January 6th, when I watched January 6th, that was it right there. And I watched the hearings and stuff, and I was just done with that whole bunch. And just I thought, there's no way, you know what I mean? Like this is nobody's gonna be able to deal with this. And they had
Right.
like there's nothing that it don't seem like there. I mean, like the pedophilia, there is no rock bottom for people, and I don't even recognize
Yeah.
who they are anymore. And so like that's why I asked him. I said I want to debate should Christians support Second Amendment, and I'm taking the negative. I definitely think that if you and I didn't realize how good a case I had until I started researching this, and like, yeah, and I'm probably gonna
Yeah,
ruffle some
and that
feathers.
religion is really tied in with the politics really strong,
Yeah,
like that's the other thing is
Mhm.
that they
but
can't
they
get
ain't
out of that
following
shit.
Christ's teachings. That's
Yeah,
what
because
like
they believe they're the chosen people by God, right? And everyone else is the Canaanite. We're all Canaanites, y'all. You
yeah,
have the curse of Cain.
they ain't following Christ teachings. You know what I mean? Like I'm an atheist, so I'm not even convinced that Jesus was a real person. But if you just
Mhm.
go by,
Right.
if I grant them that part about him living and everything and what he taught, and I try not. That's why, like when I have these debates with them, I try not to trash the religion,
Right.
but I try to point the hypocrisy out, and
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah, they
And
don't act Christ-like, that's for sure, according to how that Christ character is
Yeah.
described in their own Bible. That's why I said earlier I guess it was the beginning of the show. I mean, you could just read the Bible and see that Christ didn't act like that, but that Abrahamic God did act like that. So there's kind of a
well,
discrepancy going on here because you got God, burning down cities and taking vengeance and dashing babies against the rock. And then you got Jesus coming in there, who is a completely different, meek, humble person, peacemaker. But then he also says, I came here to enforce the law. So now they're saying, well, he didn't say do away with that. So that means we're going to keep acting like savages, like that first God from the first part of the Bible. And I'm just like, what's going on here?
It's
yeah,
hard to
well,
track it, man. You've got, a lot of people will say, well, it's the Gnostics, there's another Bible, the Gnostic scriptures like the Book of Thomas and things like that, where they try to say, oh, well, actually, God did not want to create human beings on the earth at all. That was by the demiurge. The demiurge separated himself from the Father and created the earth, which so he could rule over the earth for worship purposes and create the material world. And so Jesus came along and said, no, this world is rags. This world is bullshit. We're supposed to be looking forward to worshiping the Father. And so they try to, say it that way. But then Jesus also wanted us to follow the law. He fulfilled the law, but the law was written by this demiurge. apparently. So I don't
Well,
think that makes sense either, though.
but and he didn't fulfill it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
um, so the more I study the Bible, because I must admit I was a Christian for a long, long time. I left the. I
Me
quit being
too, girl.
I quit being a Christian all years ago, and I wasn't a very good Christian the whole time anyway. But then I like I cussed, drank, and smoked too much to be a good Christian, and have had 2 babies out of wedlock and 2 divorces, and so yeah. Uh, but like
Sinner. No.
I became a pagan for like I was a pagan when I voted for Trump. Actually, like there was I, I became a pagan, and I was a pagan for about 5 years, and then my youngest daughter, she came to me one day, and she was just fed up with my witchcraft and all that kind of crap, and she's like, "Mama, this stuff is bullshit." She said, "This ain't real." She said, she told me she was an atheist, that she thought all of it was bullshit. And I was like, "What?" And so then I started looking into it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I mean, I remember the second the scales fell off my eyes, and I was like, "It's all bullshit. It's just all bullshit." And so I was like, I couldn't help it. I started getting vocal about it. Of course, um, like I said, I have some good Christian friends who are like progressive Christians, and I try not to insult their belief or whatever. It's the ones coming after me all the time, or coming after people. They don't really come after me. I think they kind of either give up on me, or like my mom always says, she's really old. She says, "Oh, you'll come back to God someday." Well, I just let her think that, because
Yeah.
I don't want her sitting there freaking out thinking I'm going to hell or something. But I mean, like, I don't want to be. I don't want to tell her I wouldn't want to be spend eternity with all y'all anyway. Like a prayer. I don't know that ain't my idea of paradise. So
I want to go to hell because that's where all the prostitutes are.
that's where all the good people go.
Whatever.
All my friends are gonna be anyway. So
Like I always say, because we think similar when it comes to Christianity, and I always say, like, I don't have a problem with someone's personal religious beliefs. That's up to you, right? But it's a problem when you try to force that on others, and then use laws or the government
yes,
to impose that. That's
yes,
where the problem comes in. So I have a problem with the institution rather than the individual. You see what I'm saying? And when I debate these things or argue it, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Don't
yes,
force that shit onto me, and we're good. That's all.
yes,
But
Mhm.
yes. And don't put this
we
shit in
can
my
see big,
the good like
yeah,
most Christians don't even want that in the law. You know what I mean? They
Right.
want that. They understand what that like these people. The thing about these people is they don't think of what they're doing more than one step ahead at a time. Like they don't try to see what the repercussions of what's going to happen. You know, they don't
right.
care. Like and then they make a
Like,
bigger mess than they started with. You know what I mean? So because they never like sit down and think something all the way through. Like, what's this going to be? What's the
yeah,
result?
because look at what's going on now. They think that this shit couldn't turn on them. Once you give somebody that much power, absolute power, what makes you think that person ain't gonna turn on you the minute you disagree with one little thing? They think they're safe from that. So as long as it's not touching them, they support it. But what if it does touch you? What you gonna do then?
That's right.
It'll be
I
too
mean,
late by then.
yeah, and they didn't show. Like, I mean, I'm not. I'm pretty far left now, but I'm still not. These are still Americans, or they
Mhm.
should be, or
Right.
they supposed to be. And so, I think if they come, but we got to learn to respect each other, and they're showing disrespect to everybody on that side, and they done when probably the Democrats ain't going to be like that. They're not big You know, most of them are barely. They're not even left. The Democrats are not left anyway. They're not. They're just they're like they just barely right, and then the other ones are just far right. But
with the blue hair.
well, I mean, we got a lot more though, like extreme left now than the younger folks than we had before, and like I watch people all the time who are communists who like on shows and stuff and socialists or whatever, and that they would love to implement that. And so I don't. It seems like our country's gonna have a hard time healing ever with all this because the left is gonna be going for retribution if they get back in power too. Because they've been so bad. They've acted so like they got power and they've acted so terrible with it.
Yes, and that's the problem with when you start opening up, because you have to understand it's just before long till the pendulum swings the other way. So if you make it an authoritarian, if you move it more towards an authoritarian country, then when the Republicans are out of office, now you got authoritarian Democrats.
Yeah.
And then if they push it more authoritarian, then somebody like Trump comes along as an authoritarian and starts implementing the same principles. And so everybody's kind of like giving away their power just based on the power, like on the party. So like, oh, I don't care if it's authoritarian as long as it's the right party.
That's
but
right.
You forget it's just a matter of time before the other party gets involved.
They just put our constitution
now you're fucked.
Shredder. Like they just shredding our constitution, shredding it. Like And these people used to carry around pocket constitutions. You know what I mean? Like they had their little constitution.
My dad does that.
yeah, Second Amendment. Like and I'm a gun owner too. But like this Second Amendment stuff I always heard I'm like, that's not the only amendment though. That's not the only one. In fact, it wasn't even first. You know what I mean? Like our founding fathers actually thought that there was more important amendments because that's why that was second instead of first. But
exactly
right now the right doesn't seem to care about the Second Amendment anymore.
Right.
That right there, see, I've been blowing that stuff up because right there, I mean, like that is when, like, I'm like, how does the boot taste? Because like they will turn on that's all they holler about, and now but they didn't know liberals had guns. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, oh, liberals got guns. I was like, yeah, we just don't masturbate in public with them. You know what
exactly.
I mean? How we don't? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We don't get Christmas cards made with AR-15s in everybody's hands and stuff like that. It's just.
Yeah, it's like, somebody, that same guy posted that little thing he put up. He also told me today, he goes, yeah, you're all about what they did was wrong because it's against the law, but all they were doing was trying to enforce the law by getting rid of illegal immigrants. So what a hypocrite you are. And I'm like, or what a hypocrite Democrats are.
In the back
so
6-7 more times while he's already down and out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I about lost it.
What does that have to do with these people, man? Like, I don't know. These people
claim they're Christians too. They want to stick these
That's why I never liked to ask.
One of the commandments says, "Thou shalt not kill," and they go ahead and they're going ahead with all of it. I just like drive me crazy. But I mean, I don't know. Like it's a cult. It's all I can think. They have like this brain fever or something.
Well, that's just the problem. That's just the problem with the Bible, right? You have in one passage where it says, "Oh, thou shalt not kill," but then you have another passage where a guy is, I think it was, what was his name? Was it Jacob? I don't know. It was one of them dudes, but no, David. David lusted up on this woman, which happened to be this soldier's wife. And then he was like, well, I'm just going to have that soldier killed and take his wife, right?
Yeah.
And David turned out to be the apple of God's eye. And his only punishment was that his wife had a stillbirth or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like whenever you're chosen by God, you get away with a whole lot of shit, right? But when you're not, then it's bad. And they
Except,
kind of just like, I don't expect anything different from a lot of Christians because the Bible in and of itself is fucked up like that, you know? There's
well,
like
you know,
a lot of
even
inconsistencies.
Yeah.
even
You can
David's
justify a
even
lot.
David's concubines were raped in front of all of Israel as a punishment to David. So David really didn't get punished. He had his neighbor come in and humiliate David by raping his wives in front of the entire congregation as a humiliation. But
Yeah.
it's like, what did his wives have to do with it? Why did they have to get raped because of
But
what he did? Like, really?
yeah.
But they're supposed to be about peace, and yet you see like these monks that are marching across, the South to Washington D.C., and all these Christians are mad at them, and
Yeah.
all of this stuff is like, well, they're doing something in the name of peace. What are you doing besides starting bullshit?
Yeah, yeah. But when you debate these Christians, always if you bring any of that shit up from the Old Testament, what you get is, oh well, Jesus came and changed stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's fine, that's good. You know what I mean? Like because they don't follow, like they got their 10 commandments, not 613, which
Mm-hmm.
like Jesus said, I did not come to abolish the law, I came to fulfill it. And so, like, and he didn't fulfill it, like they all think they want to. So, like, Jesus never said that you were supposed to stop following all 613 laws. He never said that. He never
Not
said that.
one letter or tittle. Right.
Paul said that. They
Yeah,
follow
Paul said that. That's right.
Paul. So it's like and that's why I want this Second Amendment debate, because the more I've researched this and stuff, the worst case they got for supporting this kind of stuff. And I want to do the should Christians support ICE next, because
Mm.
I think that I'm just wore out with these is atheism, religion, and all these kind of things. I'm just wore out with that. I'm wore out with it, and I think that we need to start holding them accountable for what they claim is their principles, and show the hypocrisy. It's
Well, one time Sophia debated this one Christian who was trying to say atheism was a cult, and was also saying that I forgot exactly. I know all he did was he brought racism up. He went on this whole rant talking about black people, and then Sophia was like, I don't know if I should just leave this fucking debate because it's way off topic and it's offensive, or what.
What is wrong
Remember that
with
shit,
people, man?
Sophia?
And they are so
Yeah,
and so
his
racist.
opening statement was about how black people are bad across the world and historically speaking. And the whole debate topic was actually whether or not Christianity was needed to civilize us or not. And I was pointing out that was what the debate was supposed to be about. Can we be civilized people without Christianity? And obviously we don't need Christianity to be civilized, but that was supposed to be the debate. And he just came in the gate with, yeah, historically black people, and that was black people, and this happened and that was black people again, and that happened and that was black people again. And I was like, whoa, this dude's coming in here with some whole other shit. Like, I'm like, Scott, I don't know if I want to participate in this debate. Like, we get some unhinged people up in here. That's for sure.
I bet. I mean, like they are like, I didn't realize that racism, I live in the South, sort of, in Kentucky. Kentucky's a very racist state, actually, I'd say. And like, I did not realize though that it was that predominant among like just people I know. Like my dad, like I said, my dad taught school when I was real little, and he was a high school basketball coach. And I remember him we would take busloads because we lived in a county then there was a large black population, so, and a lot of them played the sports. They played sports, and so Dad had like little camps, for young boys, like basketball camps and stuff like that. And he would take them sometimes to make the baseball games, like to see the Cincinnati Reds and stuff like that. And the bus loads, and there was a lot of little black boys on that bus and stuff. And like I never thought in a million years that my dad was a racist until the last few years. Like he started listening to Rush Limbaugh, and like it all just
Oh,
went
God.
downhill from there. That like Rush Limbaugh, him and Fox News. Oh my gosh, they've done so much damage to this country. But like none of them learned civics either. I mean, like I graduated with all kinds. I'm like these people don't even remember our civics class. I must have been the only person. I should have been the only person to pass civics, because like they don't know nothing about the Constitution. They don't know nothing about free speech. They don't know nothing about. I mean, they just don't even know any. Like my mom, she was like, "They're not supposed to get due process." Everybody, I'm like, yes, it's in the Constitution. Like,
Well,
That's
Trump's
terrible.
getting in good with the blacks. That's what he said. Check him out.
Say, you know what I say now? When we have a protester inside, which isn't even very often, I say, be very gentle. Please don't hurt him. We had a case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him.
oh my God,
Are you the greatest? You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
That was
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Hello. So
Hey, Chris.
I don't know if like where in this conversation with you guys, but we're because I know I'm just kind of jumping in. But the problem with the Second Amendment and the right to firearms is just it's like I have my own perspective on how and why it's there, and also the fact that I'm Canadian, don't have Second Amendment in my country, and in fact, it's a privilege to be a firearms owner, to which you are screened daily by the RCMP. If if you have one of those, and also there's a lot of lobbying for just to basically restrict stuff, but otherwise I'm not really going there. But the thing is what I'm getting at, I was wanted to say, is that it's a mentality of the Second Amendment is the end all be all of things. You cannot change it. You cannot, you cannot remove it, or you cannot. There's
not infringe. That's what they say.
Yeah, you not infringe it upon it, and but the reason why at least how I think it's Justice Scalia that did the separation between militia and individual, I think.
Yes.
And with all that shit, basically it's because of Scalia that you have this problem of people having the innate right to have a firearm without basically throwing with the regulated, well-regulated militia.
Yes.
But
Scalia separated the clauses.
Yep. Or the language between that, and because of this, that's how ever since Columbine basically has started and all that kind of crap. But how I see it, the language, in my personal interpretation of the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment is essentially void, because as you see, the verbiage of the language with the placed within the well-regulated militia. Well, technically, that's supposed to be the National Guard, in my sense, but that doesn't. And also, well, just to kind of go trickle back a little bit, um, being in the military wasn't exactly a career until essentially post 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 the Second World War, right? I think it was just something people would do, except for the officer corps. Um, People didn't do careers in the military until basically the Cold War. So that's one of those things, and it's just that's why you get the verbiage of a militia to think in my head, and that's what the army's supposed to do, and also the National Guard. But I don't know if I'm overstepping my bounds over here or whatever.
You're correct. Like the interpretation up until Scalia.
Yeah.
Of course, there was people who were pushing for that interpretation, but
Yes.
like that was it was the fact that like the right to own a firearm for self defense was not seen as like this right, the inherent right that you had.
Yeah.
And what Scalia did was he took the Second Amendment and where the clauses break off and there's the colon or semicolon or whatever.
Yeah.
He made that into two different clauses. So that changed, like it went from the militia part, but then the second part granted the personal ownership of firearms for self-defense. And so that completely changed. And up until then, the Supreme Court had always ruled that it was not a personal, right to own a firearm for self-defense.
Yeah.
And that
But
they got that through there. And the NRA, up until like the NRA, when it started, the NRA started right after the Civil War because of the amount of people who fought in the Civil War who were not trained with weapons and had ended up injuring themselves and stuff like that. And so the NRA came about from like trying to train people to properly use a firearm, like their weapons.
Yep.
And it pushed for gun safety and stuff. But then there was come a time when it was overtaken by these radical people that wanted this specific reading. And so now that they got it like what they wanted, but now they've just kicked it to the curb, which is amazing to watch. People just like, he shouldn't have had a gun. I mean, our president said you can't go to a protest. He said he had a gun. He had two magazines. That's some bad stuff. And I'm like, okay, and like they're all like just falling in line with that. And I'm like, why? Thou shalt not be infringed. Remember, infringed.
Yeah, but in the common sense type of way, bringing like a weapon to a protest is like a no. Like for like anybody else.
Yeah, it's not a no though. That's for me though. It's
not. That's what I understand that, but it's just anyhow.
I mean, like he wasn't like these people. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't.
I mean, he was concealed carrying. No one even knew he had a weapon because he never pulled it out. So why is it a problem?
And it was
you can't say it's a problem. You can't say it's a problem afterwards, right? Because like you said, it was holstered. He never brandished it. He didn't point it at anyone. He made no threats. A gun is not a threat until it becomes a threat in the hands of the person that makes the threat. So my whole thing about the Second Amendment is How it came about, it doesn't even matter now. We're living in a hostile country, and as long as the government has weapons, I'm damn sure not going to get rid of mine. You know, we're
There you
in
go.
this position now,
Yeah,
and so
I finally see the
I'm just saying,
defending it
what
from
is your
tyranny.
point, sir?
Yeah, I finally see the point of defending this from tyranny. Like, and what gets me though, the NRA, they've had one job: defend us from
Where are
tyranny.
they at?
But yeah, I've got like this little meme that's got this little ball. It's got the NRA road in the middle of it, and there's a guy poking it with a stick, and he's like, "Come on, resist the tyranny." You know what I mean? Like you sit there going, "Come on."
Where are they now?
Yeah, it's basically full of shit.
Full
Well,
of shit.
they have
Full of
come
shit.
out. They have come out and said something, but not enough of them. But there is a division. Like I watched a lot of channels of like ex-combat veterans and stuff.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of talk over there about this. They're not happy about this at all. They're like because they feel like we've been told the Democrats are coming for our guns all these years, and guess who's coming for our guns?
They're right. Exactly.
And I've
Mhm.
always said that because they're the authoritarians.
And see, you know, I understand the point. Like I lived in Germany for like 4 or 5 years, and there was nobody being shot. Like there was no gun violence like in America. Nothing like that existed there. You know, because guns
Yeah,
were
but the
there was
police over there isn't violent like our police is either.
right. That's the
You know,
thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like we live in a different culture.
you ain't got to be. Yeah, you don't got to be scared that you're gonna get shot because you got pulled over during a traffic
Mhm.
stop. You don't have guns pointed at you ever. So like, the whole country is run in a whole different way. But
Right.
in
Well,
America, that's a whole nother story.
well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
there's a difference though between like if you're black and if you're white too. Like
Mhm.
I don't worry about being shot during a traffic stop either. But you know, like if like my mom didn't have to worry about me when I went
Or
out
you
at
may
night.
want to start worrying about it now, lady.
Yeah, you know,
Things.
But
yeah,
yeah,
because I got a bumper sticker that says I'm for the separation of church and hate. So that they don't even like that. They hate that bumper sticker.
yeah.
I'm like, what is there to
You gotta
hate
be
about that?
careful.
What is there to hate about that bumper sticker? I mean, like, you know, I should give you one. Tax the church is what I'm gonna put on her neck. Tax the church. But yeah, that's why I picked the Second Amendment and the should Christians support the Second Amendment. That's why I did it.
Mhm.
So I can highlight some hypocrisy. I wish I had a bigger following on YouTube than I do, but yeah, I want to start doing debates. That's what I want to do. And so if you debate, girl, I would love to have you on sometime to debate. Yeah,
Well,
Heck
Sophia's
yeah.
good, man.
I bet.
She
Where'd
be
she
killing
go?
them. She just
Yeah.
crashed.
Okay,
She's
maybe.
coming back.
But what I wanted to say about like touching upon the like black white not dilemma but the realities about Alex Pretti is that it basically most of the American diaspora is essentially waking up because now if Alex Pretti, well, by all accounts, is essentially checks all the boxes of the quote unquote safe people or what's and then they basically just like that's why people are kind of freaking out because everybody can be essentially be shot dead on the street, whoever, because yes, Renee Good was also a white woman, but she was also a lesbian. So
Yeah, and a woman too.
And a woman. So who
He was
cares?
an lover.
Yeah, but anyhow, just like who cares? So it's like I'm not saying who cares because I do care, but it's just what I'm saying is that the zeitgeist does not like react because it's not. It doesn't. It's not the. It's the others basically that still do that. But with Alex Pretti, it's like okay.
Yeah, he worked with VA.
Yep, worked for the DA, the quote unquote golden goose of the GOP. So yeah, it's like we can't back away from this. So yeah.
No, I'm not gonna let them. I'm not gonna let them either. I've been hammering it home,
Yeah.
because and it's sad. I mean, like it is sad that it took, like if they had not been white,
Yeah.
like we probably would. They don't even. There's other people that's been shot by ICE too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't even hear about that, and we don't hear about those cases. Like I live in the state where Breonna Taylor, was shot and killed by the police, and she was a young black woman, and it took forever to even get a trial, some kind of trial for any of them to be held accountable, and only one of them was ever held accountable in some fashion. And I'm afraid that really they're not ever even going to do that now because of Trump's DOJ is so crooked and hiding stuff, and just it's
the next presidency is going to be essentially damage control. Like it will take even like 8 years to just going back to zero before essentially February 2024. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like and we're not even guaranteed. Like I don't think that Trump, like if I was in Trump's administration, or I was Trump or any of them right there, Stephen Miller, I blame a lot of this on Stephen Miller. I think he's just like the most evil human being. But like,
Yeah,
I
he's
would
like
not.
fucking.
Yeah.
I was
They
just
don't.
saying, yeah, he's extreme.
Yes, these people are acting like that. They don't ever think they're going to be out of office. Like that doesn't seem like that's crossing their mind at all. That they're not going to be in charge forever, or because if they were behaving like this and they knew that they were going to be out of office, they would be concerned about what is going to happen when they get out. Because like I think we need to have Nuremberg type trials for these people.
I
Really,
was just thinking of that. I even posted that on my wall the other day.
yes.
I was like, man, see y'all at the Nuremberg trials, bitches. But hey, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt anything. I do got to bounce, but hey, it was really nice to meet you, Robin. Thanks, Chris, for showing up as well. And I was wondering, Miss Robin, if you wanted to stay in contact with me, we could exchange emails or something really quickly.
Yeah, mine is on. I think mine is on my channel. Did you find my channel?
Okay, I'll just subscribe to you with my channel.
Okay, I think it is.
You'll see.
But I come in here and watch Fair Point quite. I've been trying to stop by usually and say hi or something. So I had seen.
Yeah, I'm half blind and I barely see the shit on the screen most of the time. So that's probably why I didn't see any of that. I should be wearing glasses, but even that doesn't help. So, Anyway, guys, I gotta bounce.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out too. I got to do delivery. We'll see you, Sophia. Yeah, I got to get out too and get to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thanks for everybody's participation. Thanks, Robin and Chris, for jumping in.
You're welcome.
And yeah, that'd be really cool, Robin, if you set something up with a debate, and you and Sophia could do a double debate against a team or something like that. You know how they do on modern day debates or something?
Yeah, the 2v2s.
Yeah.
Yep. Also with Robin, going on that on that point about guns, religion, and all that stuff, probably might recruit other people from other countries. Would also be a good idea to get a sense of how stuff kind of works in other countries, because it's just so like the amount of Americano centrism is very thick when it comes to those subjects.
Yes,
so,
American exceptionalism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
We're number one. We're number
yeah,
one.
pretty much. But I
Greatest
think,
country in the world. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
but I
God's
think
favorite country.
I think that having your channel kind of expose not exactly different cultures, but just to like having a different mindset of people, because at the end of the day, the Second Amendment thing is a mindset, and it's just as I said before, guns in Canada is essentially a privilege. So essentially, that makes people more, you know,
Yes.
bear the more cautious with the consequences. But
Well, y'all are better educated than we are too, though.
I guess,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah,
So
I know you are. Like I have a
know.
lot of Canadian friends, and yeah, they're way better educated than we
Oh,
are.
big time. Big time.
Okay. Anyways,
All right,
so
folks.
I'm gonna bounce too. So thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. Y'all be good. Have a great day.
Thanks.
All right.